As a quick note before we get started, I was an idiot and recorded on the wrong microphone for the first 15 minutes, so it's going to sound a little off, but I promise you it gets better after that. Thanks for bearing with us through this little technical mistake of mine.
All right, welcome to the Armchair Commanders podcast, the only show that guarantees you citizenship after listening. My
Would
name
you
is
like to
John,
know more? Sorry, I kind of cut you off there. I'm Jack, Sergeant Jack.
Sergeant Jack.
You're damn right.
How, how did you become sergeant? Did you
I,
accidentally kill somebody, or
I played a lot of Starship Troopers Extermination, who
oh,
are not the sponsors of this video, but we're open.
they could be? I would like Starship Troopers Extermination to know that I do have a copy of her game. I just haven't played it yet because I'm not a part of the PC Master Race yet. So
You
someday,
will be in
that is
due
the
time.
hope.
Yep.
Relatively soon, actually, I should be joining the PC Master Race.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, this week was Starship Troopers. It was your choice, Jack.
Uh-huh.
And what'd you think?
I loved it. I just loved this movie. See, little brief story before I continue. This movie has a special place in my heart because it was homecoming week of senior year in high school. I originally was going to spend it partying. I really was. But my grandma was ill that week. So I decided to stay with her that entire week and take care of her. And four of the five times I turned the TV on that week, Starship Troopers was playing. And it was never from the beginning. No, it was when it was already playing at random spots. But man,
It, is it like when you catch Forrest Gump on like TNT or something?
exactly. That's my stop everything and watch it movie is Starship Troopers.
It's fair enough. I am honestly shocked that they turned this into a safe for TV movie. I'm honestly shocked that this movie only got an R rating. I for sure like when I went to go like do my little background research, I was like, this has to be an NC-17 movie with the amount of like violence and boobs. Just like I'm like, there's no way the MPA MPP. What is the fucking acronym of this place that I can't remember?
I want to say it's the MPAA.
Yeah,
MPAA.
the
Yep,
people who
Motion
give out
Picture
the rating.
Association.
I was like, by any metric, this should be an NC-17 movie with just the blatant over the top violence that we get from it. But somehow they managed an R rating, and somehow they were able to turn that R rating into a TV-14. So here we are.
I
But I also
mean,
have,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I also have very distinct memories of catching this on TV more than a time or two throughout my youth. So I think this might actually be the first time I've seen the non-TV version of it.
Hmm. And did it hold up?
Oh, absolutely. It's
Mm-hmm.
I also agree. I think this is a terrific film. It's very ham-fisted, but it's purposely made that way. I don't mind a film that is ham-fisted or over the top or
If it knows
just
it is.
yeah, if the goal of the film is specifically to be ridiculous, I'm cool with that. What I hate is when a film is trying to be serious and it comes out ridiculous. That's what bugs me. It's like when we were watching Wind Talkers and you have the opening scene where, everybody dies and gets blown up. And, you brought it up in the Wind Talkers episode where it's like one dude gets his hand cut off, and the only thing that results from that is the guy yelling out, "Ugh, my hand!"
uh,
Which, to be fair, I don't think we see any. Well, we see the Busey character was Ace Levi was the name of the
Yeah.
character.
Levy.
Gary Busey's son takes a knife to the hand.
Busey Jr.
Busey Jr. It's shocking that he retained absolutely zero of his dad's genetics or appearance.
I mean,
And
yeah.
and by none I mean he is a fucking clone of his dad.
You know, there's a reason why Gary Busey has such an odd and distinct personality. And according to his family, it's because he was in a really bad motorcycle crash a couple decades ago and he had brain damage. And apparently that's why he's kind of out there.
I mean, that'll do it. You know what's my favorite Gary Busey film is Rookie of the Year.
Never seen it.
He's the premise of the film is basically this kid gets into an accident which injures his arm and somehow turns him into this miracle freak of nature pitcher who can throw like 100 plus mile an hour pitches every single pitch. And his mentor for like he gets drafted, like this 12-year-old gets drafted to the Chicago Cubs, and his quote unquote mentor is Gary Busey.
Mentor. What a great mentor.
But yeah, but speaking of knife to the hand, I think this is probably where we should start the film is the whole training montage because if I'm not mistaken, this is our first true um, boot camp, like full montage scene that we get out of a film, which I know in war films is a very common and recurring set piece, but for us, this is our first one.
There's kind of like that training scene in Wind Talkers, right?
I mean, yeah, they did have a training sequence, but it wasn't your typical boot camp of, running around and doing an obstacle course and shooting guns and stuff like that. Like this is our first almost like direct correlation to something like Full Metal Jacket, you know,
Mm.
where instead of Arlie Ermy, we get Mr. Krabs.
Yep, Clancy Brown. Our first Clancy Brown movie.
Rito, you are relieved of command.
Hmm.
Like really? That's all you have to say after someone dies on your watch, Mr. Krabs?
Fun fact: that dude who got shot in the head and the girl who shot him in the head, those two are still are married in real life.
Huh.
They apparently met on the set of that movie.
I wonder how many Hollywood marriages have occurred because of that kind of set piece.
I thought you were gonna say I wonder how many marriages happened with Starship Troopers, and probably more than we'd think.
Just the love of Starship Troopers.
Yeah, it's truly the great uniter among humans against bugs.
Well, I mean, you're either with the Federation or you're for the bugs.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's how that works. They chuck rocks at us from outer space and destroy our Brazilian cities.
I'm from Buenos Aires and I say kill 'em all!
Yeah!
Ah!
Rah!
God, this movie's
Man,
just,
yeah.
it is chock full of fantastic one-liners. I,
I was gonna bring that up. Like, it is a meme farm.
especially I'm doing my part.
Mm-hmm. That would have been our guest on today's episode if she answered the tweet that I tweeted at her.
Well,
But no,
she's probably busy being a former Disney star with her 2,000 followers.
you're right. She's too famous for us.
I'm not going to sit here and talk shit on somebody who I'm not going to say she's done more with her life, but also like she probably is much busier than we are, if we're being honest.
What are you talking about? I'm all about staying busy, kind of.
You're all about killing those fictitious bugs.
You know, that kind of game just happens to find me. Where games where you play a sci-fi badass that kill alien bugs, say Deep Rock Galactic, Starship Troopers Extermination, Gears 5. They they just appeal to me. I don't know why.
What I find interesting is the fact that so have you ever read the book Starship Troopers?
Nope.
Neither have I, but I went on a rabbit hole over the last couple days, just because obviously this movie, the source material is the book by Robert Heinlein um, of the same name, which to begin with, I find very interesting that when the screenplay for this movie was originally started, they didn't intend to have it as their source material. They were trying to come up with some independent sci-fi movie, and somebody along the way was like, you know, this is shockingly a lot like this book. Why don't we just adapt it? And they're like, okay. And then Paul Verhoeven, the director of this film, he tries to read the book, and in his own words, he's like, I just thought it was so boring. I didn't get past the second chapter, so I signed someone else to read it and then give me the spark notes on it, which is which explains a lot as to why it loosely follows the Starship Trooper book outline. A lot of crossover characters, themes, and all that stuff, but obviously there's quite a few deviations. But the biggest deviation that I'm honestly kind of mad about is the lack of like exosuits because Starship Troopers, the book, more or less pioneered that idea for popular media. I mean, the reason we have like if you were to take a look at one of the original covers for Starship Troopers and compared it to the cover of Fallout 4, it is remarkably similar. Um, it also it's where we like uh, Alien gets their
Yeah.
exosuit idea from this book. Um, the Future Warfare Call of Duties got their ideas from this or was inspired by it. And it's not until like the third sequel in this series that they finally bring it in. But to be fair, they they spent an astronomical amount of their budget on CGI in this film, so I'm not surprised that they probably just ran out of money to be like, okay, we can't do the exosuits for the mobile infantry because they put so much into the bug animations. And what I will say is that for the 1990s, the CGI of these bugs is just out of out of the park,
Yeah,
fantastic.
they
And
killed it.
I wouldn't say it's like super stellar by today's standards, but it still holds up like really, really well.
Oh yeah. And speaking of like the influence this book has, for those of our listeners that are familiar with Warhammer 40K, the power armor troopers inspired the Space Marines in that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And then since they didn't have it in the movie, they I don't know, I don't even know if they intended it or not, but the soldiers ended up becoming more along the lines of the Imperial Guard, which is a strange way of thinking about it. And obviously the alien bugs are Tyranids.
The thing that has always got me, even from like a young kid, is one of the other things they change is obviously the arachnids stay as the primary enemy in this movie, but they change the kind of the appearance or the way that they operate. So they're still like space travel to them is done via like spores and stuff in this movie versus in the book, if I remember correctly, they're more, uh, I don't want to say humanoid, but it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's almost like a from Bopulus Michael from Rick and Morty type situation. Like, oh boy, here I go killing again. So Paul Verhoeven, if I remember correctly, he purposely made that change because he thought like space bugs wielding guns was going to be goofy looking. And to be fair, his interpretation of the arachnids is truly terrifying. I mean, like every battle sequence, you're just like, how in the fuck are they getting out of this? Um,
Yeah, it's just a swarm.
so I do appreciate that. It's just the when we get the scene of the arachnids have destroyed Buenos Aires, it's just like how with their fucking plasma shits from the massive bugs, like it never really made sense to me in that regard of like the arachnids being the ones going on the offensive. I totally get them infesting a planet. That makes more sense to me, but to actually stage and plan an attack, that doesn't sit with me. And
Also, if I
that
may
that's something that that's something that the book does much better, I think.
interrupt you for a second, you're coming in a little bit quiet now. You kind of quieted down there.
How about now?
About the same. Try again.
So, listeners, FYI, we had to take a brief break, and you might have noticed a change in quality between the audio. That is because I was an idiot for the first 15 minutes of this show. We have since resolved the issue, but essentially, long story short, I was plugged into the wrong microphone. So, hopefully, this side of the podcast sounds better, and we haven't lost too many people from the first section.
But I'm getting back to our previous point. No, I haven't read the book because I can't read, as you already know, and you keep rubbing in my face.
You know, they make audiobooks.
I'm deaf. I can't listen to anything.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm just being facetious. Yes, I can read. I just didn't get around to reading this one. I also sent you that link about what's the difference between the book and the movie.
Did you?
Yeah, I texted it to you.
Oh,
Yeah,
uh,
Cinefix, What's the Difference? It's a great series.
I watched a couple of other content creators and their takes on this particular movie verse book. One is a great a great channel is a guy who does a series called Lost in Adaptation.
Mm.
Highly recommend it. But um, I'm trying to think, where do we go from here?
But the memes. A great
so
segue as any.
so many great memes. I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Would you like to know more?
The would you like to know more is honestly, I know a lot of people have said that they don't care for that particular section of this movie or aspect of it, but I think it makes for a pretty clever cutscene
It really does.
when there's not another like real natural way to go from one place to another. I think it's a great way of doing world building while also giving the viewers a break from the primary characters for a moment. Like we stay maintained on the primary characters. We don't really get those like side or backroom conversations. Like we never see his parents like argue in the bedroom when he's not there, or like we don't see a conversation between Zim and uh Asac Schrader. I forgot his actual name, but
Yeah, no,
um
I'd say Zack Schrader.
yeah. You killed Uncle Hank.
mm, you just reminded me. What are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking, so because I didn't really think there was any particular drink that fit a theme for this movie, I went with tequila and fresca.
Hmm. I mean, it makes sense to me. Not sure how, but it makes sense to me. I am drinking,
For Buenos Aires.
yeah, I'm drinking Smirnoff Ice, the zesty orange screwdriver flavor.
All right, I'm not much of a screwdriver guy, but
Love them.
I do enjoy a Smirnoff from time to time, especially the like 4th of July blue ones.
You see, I come from a household where we drink vodka Red Bulls at breakfast, straight vodka at lunch, and then wind down with a nice screwdriver for dinner. We may have been alcoholics. I'm kidding. I didn't actually do that, but that'd be hilarious if I did. Vodka Red Bulls got me through freshman year of college.
I didn't start drinking in college until the end of the sophomore year. I was
I see when you started
I
dating
was
your now wife.
yeah, yeah, she was the one that corrupted me.
Yep, that's how that works. She introduced you to sex, drugs, and alcohol, and rock and roll.
I didn't even do drugs in college. I was such a square.
She introduced you to sex, booze, and rock and roll. There, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, the holy trifecta. But shit, where was I going with this?
I actually had a continuation of the mean
Oh, go ahead.
conversation. So the whole so like the PSA things, or would you like to learn more? Do you remember early on when they were kind of doing the world building stuff where they talked about they it was a very short, just like one or two lines, and um it was about Mormons who went to Mars to explore religious freedom from
It
Earth
it
and how
wasn't
they
it wasn't Mars. It was like a small planet on the fringes of human territory that
okay,
they could get
but you
away
get
from
what
the
I'm
Federation.
right, but you get what I'm saying is they do that. Mormons getting away from government for religious freedoms and whatnot, and I think a lot of people probably would have missed that, or probably would not have thought much of that, especially in the '90s, because obviously in the '90s there wasn't so much popular media about the Mormons, such as Trey Parker, Matt Stone's Book of Mormon musical, or the various South Park episodes, um, as well as all of the like expose documentaries. But that is actually like a very interesting and kind of hidden aspect of American history in real life that obviously there was the initial trek of Joseph Smith and his followers out to Utah where, they ran into multiple troubles along the way. But I mean, a good chunk of the early Mormon church history involves them getting slaughtered by a whole lot of different groups of people. Because it's either you have, ruffians in you know lawless territories, or you have western towns that are like, what do you mean you don't believe in Jesus the same way we do? Or you have native tribes that aren't stoked on more encroachment of their original territories. So I mean, the early church history for the Mormons is very blood soaked, and the fact that even in the year, or the 23rd century, this is still a thing. It kind of blows my mind. I just thought it was an interesting tidbit that they added into this movie, that they recognized previous persecution of this particular religion, and it still exists even in this like quote unquote perfect future society.
Hmm.
And also, disclaimer, I know previously I've stated that I'm a religious individual. Mormonism is not my religion. I don't hold anything against them, but also I don't want anybody to think I'm batting either way for that group of people. I'm a strong believer in do your own thing. So there's your PSA of the day.
Yeah.
I neither hate nor like the Mormons. So there you go.
But and I was just looking at a theory for this movie. Well, multiple theories on the asteroid itself. Like one of the more popular fan theories is that A, the asteroid was just a random act of nature, or B, more sinisterly, the humans themselves dropped it on Buenos Aires to blame on the bugs in a false flag operation. But man,
Way to ruin
that's
the plot of Starship Troopers number 4, Jack.
good. Of course, I haven't actually seen it, so I don't know if I'm actually spoiling anything. I haven't seen any of the
It's
sequels because I don't want to.
You don't need to see number 2.
That's what I've been told, but
Number
telling me not
four,
to watch a movie just makes me kind of want to watch it.
it's either number 4 or number 5 that we get the Buenos Aires was an inside job. We get the Clendathu truthers.
Mm.
But so what? So I have to ask you, what is your favorite scene in this movie?
Oh man, there's so many to choose from. Um, when I was a kid, I really liked the co-ed shower scene. I'm not really sure why. Um, I mean, yeah,
Well,
that's a future I want to live in personally because, well, like it's not even an issue, right? They're just so normalized with nudity. And I think it was Steiner the other day we were talking in chat with because Paul Verhoeven. That was one of the things. Am I saying that right? Paul Verhoeven. Whatever.
yeah,
Paul
yeah.
is what is the one thing director Paul was insistent on is the nudity because he grew up in Western Germany where that
Uh,
kind of thing was normalized.
he
Like
uh, he
they
grew up
took
in the Netherlands, which is something we'll get around to it later. But yeah, he
well
he grew up in the Netherlands.
yeah, some such socially liberal European country where they would just like shower together and not think anything of it. And he just wanted that in the future, which I support. You
I
never took a
rem-
shower with me when we were roommates, but it's fine. I forgive you,
I I'm a solo shower practitioner. I'm sorry.
loser. How are you supposed to get the hard to reach places on your back? I could do that for you, man.
You know what else can do that? A loofah on a stick.
Oh, loofah on a stick. It doesn't have the attention to detail.
You don't scrub as hard as I do.
You don't know that. You never invited me to a shower.
Okay, well, next time
Moving
you
on.
come next time you come out here and visit, we can put your theory to the test.
I'd love to. Anyway, yeah, the shower scene's great.
I
Um,
was I was reading about that, and apparently Paul Verhoeven in there's some hesitancy amongst the actors for doing this scene, and so uh, I don't know if Paul Verhoeven himself, but I think he did. But there's a couple of there's like a producer and a couple of other people involved in the shooting of that scene who also got behind the scenes got completely naked to quote unquote make the actors feel more comfortable. And my only thought is I would feel even 100 times more awkward if Paul Verhoeven just got fucking naked in front of me.
I want Paul Verhoeven to be naked in front of me.
I don't.
You're weird,
That's
though.
I'm not weird. It's like, have you ever been to a Planet Fitness at 7 in the morning? Like that's what it would be, is just some saggy old man skin everywhere.
Are you seriously asking me if I've ever been to a gym before when you and I know the answer to that?
No, that's fair.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
Well, if you ever do go to a gym, there's a whole lot of old, wrinkly, naked men there.
but yes, I have been to the Y locker rooms and man, they are everywhere. which, good for them.
Yeah.
Well, I just think we could resolve a lot of conflicts in the world today if we were more comfortable with sexuality and nudity. Like, name one conflict that couldn't be resolved through sex. See, you can't do it.
Domestic violence.
Shut up, that's not what I meant. I'm talking about global conflicts.
Global conflicts that couldn't be solved by sex.
You see, this one,
Mm,
I promise you this relates to the movie, but go ahead, think about one.
I'm trying to think of one actually, but
Exactly.
you continue with your thoughts.
Yeah, see, like the whole build up to World War One was called a powder keg, and an explosion was inevitable, yes, but that explosion could have gone one of two ways: horrific violence or a Europe-wide orgy. See, and it would have been resolved, I think, and with
Blame
much
it on
less
the French. They
bloodshed.
weren't chipping in.
Oh, my God, yeah, but anyway, what my point is Paul Verhoeven knows this, and in his vision of the future, there's kind of a bit more open attitudes about sex, albeit a bit restricted on the reproductive side. More on that later. And obviously, they're more loose with nudity. See, like they're more comfortable with it with each other. Hence the co-ed showers in the military. My point is, they've eliminated all human contact or conflict through this, and that is why the alien is an enemy in this, because it has no what humanness to its sexual nature. Like sex to them is purely reproductive. And they don't have clothes anyway. They're fucking bugs. They're always naked. So
So you're saying that we were at war with the bugs because we couldn't go to Pound Town with them?
exactly. Well, we
Oh,
could, but they'd probably kill us and eat us. But still, I'm not saying that's the whole reason. The big fucking rock dropped on Buenos Aires is a big reason in and of itself. But I'm just saying that we
never
can't
mind
fuck our way
future
out of
nine
this one.
eleven.
Never
Never
mind.
mind future
Nine
future
11 times
9/11.
100 or 1,000 even. Yeah, there's like 8 some million dead.
Total Recall promised me people with 3 boobs, and instead what we get is killer
Bug
spiders.
wars. Yeah,
I don't
just
know.
I'm picturing Beavis and Butthead and the Imperial Guard on Clendathru. All hell's going around. This sucks. But man, in the end, like, which brings us to citizenship. Why a good chunk of them do it in the first place? Because, as we all know, the natural progression in the future is that military service is 110% optional. However, it's oftentimes, well, it's the most easy way to get citizenship, if not the only way to get citizenship for some people, and the privileges that grants. So it's very
so
manipulative.
so as far as like the concept goes, I get it, and like the science, like as far as it being a part of this world, that doesn't bug me. It's
Bug you.
yeah. Um like I
Uh,
get it. I get it as a part of this is how this particular world and society works. The issue I have with it in respect to this movie is that time after time is like we see all these people die these super gruesome deaths
mm-hmm.
and go through all these traumas for the promise of citizenship, but we never once see what like the film never actually demonstrates to us the payoff of citizenship. All we see is we get the carrot and no stick, right? Like we're dangling citizenship in front of you, and we're going to get all these kids to sign up for, our quote unquote not Nazi government that definitely is a Nazi government. Um, and they're going to suffer these horrific injuries and horrific deaths, all for the privilege of becoming citizens. And our counter to that is we see Rico's parents, who are super rich and wealthy, and they're like, "We'll send you on a vacation if you give up on this citizenship thing." And it's like, so wait, if we're putting it in today's terms, it's like I'm going to lose an arm for the ability to vote for whatever terrible politician is available. Like, because we haven't
Yeah,
had like it's like, oh boy, I gave an arm to vote between Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Like, that's a shitty deal in comparison to mom and dad offering me a trip to Cancun, you know?
what I assume it is like the opportunity to vote. However, the government predetermines who the candidates are. Kind of like the voluntary service with a huge fucking asterisk.
Well, that's the other thing we see in this movie is that the Federation is very much like a very big uh, meritocracy.
Mm-hmm.
So much
And
so that Rico goes from being a private to a sergeant in the course of 3 hours. So
that might also because everyone keeps dying around him.
do it, Rico. I'm not doing this for a promotion. Can we talk about that? These are petty things, I know, but just there's so many things that kind of make you scratch your head in this movie, which is like, how does him being a football star translate to him being like this superb warrior? Like, he dominates capture the flag in basic training, and then he takes out the big like tanker bug flamethrower bug thing, and
and
afterwards he goes up to Michael Ironside and he's like, "Good job, Rico. Where'd you learn to do that?" And he's like, "Don't you remember? I was captain of the team." And it's like, how in the fuck does that translate? Like,
but you do remember the football scene, right? That was both incredibly violent, but they were also like doing flips and shit over each other like it was nothing. So
yeah.
that can only I can only assume they're like genetically enhanced or something.
Well, that was the other thing, going into this, the whole Paul Verhoeven thing. Um, Part of his goals in casting this was he very much wanted to do the like Aryan ideal when casting, because so Paul Verhoeven's primary goal in this movie when he adapted the book into this movie was he wanted to take this story and legitimately wanted to say, look how ridiculous people are in this system. Like, this is a bad system. Fascism is bad. I want you to understand, like, this is what a completely fascist world looks like, and it is completely stupid.
but but if
But yet,
fascism is wrong, then why do they look so cool?
they are they got some snappy uniforms. But yeah, so that's why we get a lot of the casting choices we do is because he's like, I'm pulling the Aryan cookbook, if you will, of casting choices. Because believe it or not, there were two other actors considered for the role of Rico. First one was our beloved Matt Damon.
Yeah.
And
Matt
then,
Damon.
oh god, who the fuck was the other person? Time out.
Al-
I'm going to look this up.
Also, as an aside, John Rico is like Latino in the movie.
I think he was supposed to be Filipino or Puerto
No,
Rican.
he's no. Hear me out. He's actually Juan Rico in the novels, and he's Filipino.
Oh my god.
But in the
The
movies, he's John Rico.
Oh yeah, he's Juan Rico. Yeah.
In the novel,
Mark
yeah, Juan Rico.
Mark Wahlberg was the other consideration for this.
Marky Mark. I mean, that would have been a choice.
It definitely would have.
I'm
And
from
don't get me wrong.
Boston, and I say kill 'em all.
I
Hmm.
So here's the thing. I do enjoy Mark Wahlberg. I think he's done well in a lot of various roles. I definitely think he would have been the wrong choice for this film, though.
Absolutely.
I'm glad they went with the choice that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, there's some beautiful, beautiful actors in this film. Like Rico. I mean, even Busey looks great in this film. You know, it's
Okay, let
the
me mark
chiseled
that down as the
jawline.
first time anyone's ever said that, but continue.
He's got a strong jawline, Jack. It is impressive.
See, 90% of the time I hear that it's from girls commenting on a guy's jawline, like, oh, look at his jawline. That's so weird to me. Like, do they just
Here,
hyper focus on like the most random features of a guy?
I have no idea because like Miranda, her most common like compliment to me is that she thinks I have like very good forearms, and I'm like, I like you do you. That like that's if you think that's good looking or if that's what like rustles your Jimmy, like all the power to you. I just I I can't say me as a guy has ever looked at a female and be like, man, look at those ankles. Like, no. No, like this isn't the 1700s.
I almost kind of want to take a girl off guard one of these days and compliment her jawline just to see how she'd take it.
It's either going to go really well or really bad.
You have a nice forehead.
Oh, Jesus. Don't say it
Oh,
like that.
I was in a Reader's Theater play last night, actually, and I played a real. Not who am I? He was the good guy. One of his lines was even outright. This just proves my point. Children should be kept from the fire, and women should be kept from science. So yeah, it was a real peach. And the overarching plot, spoiler alert, was I was trying to woo and seduce the serving girl of this dude that I'm studying under because she had a hunched back, and I wanted to study it more thoroughly by getting her naked.
Your
Yeah,
character wanted to date the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
the Scottish Hunchback of Notre Dame, yes, and just to study her
What what pray
Presbyterian
tell
bent.
is the name of this play? Because it just seems stupid and ridiculous.
I'm glad you asked. It's an experiment on a bird with an experiment with an air pump, and it's named after a painting called "Experiment on a Bird with an Air Pump."
Um, okay then.
It's about science, but
Science rules.
yeah, things go to shit and events occur. This two settings, because all of this play takes place in one room. However, one part takes place in 1799 and the other takes place in 1999.
Hmm.
It's something. Yeah, but god damn it, where was I going with this? So
I
yeah,
have no
Starship
idea.
Troopers. Um, as an aside, I was gonna mention this along with the snappily dressed fascists, but the fan nickname for uh Neil Patrick Harris's character in this is Doogie Howser SS.
Well, he does come in dressed exactly like a
He
Gestapo officer.
does. He
I will
does.
say the interesting thing with Doogie Howser, psychic extraordinaire, which also, can we talk about the fact that being a psychic is a thing in this universe, and it's kind of just mentioned offhand. We get one scene where we see that Carl has this ability, he gets a job because of it, and then it's never a prevalent thing ever again throughout the rest of
Well,
this film. Oh, other than him saying it's scared. Oh, really?
mm,
Like the creature that is tied up and surrounded by people is scared. I could have never divined that without your psychic abilities, Neil Patrick Harris.
there was another part. Um, when they were going to save what's her face, Carmen.
The thing is dizzy.
No, it wasn't Dizzy. Dizzy was already dead at this point. It was his ex girlfriend that was in the Navy. But
Oh yeah, I get their character names flipped around all
any
the time. So
but yeah, well, like their ship goes down in that cave, and they're taken hostage by the bugs, and him and his platoon are going to save them, and they're about to go down one route, and he like stops and says, "Let's go down this one instead." And the dude's like, "Well, what the fuck do you mean?" And he's like, "The mission's this way." And he said, "Yeah, but Carmen's this way. I say we go down this road." And then they go down, and lo and behold, find Carmen. And
Mm.
they big save the day. Um, Mr. Krabs captures the brain bug off screen, which I would have liked to see personally, but it doesn't matter. And then he like,
I love how Rico and Carmen get back together after she dumped him because her boyfriend had his brain sucked out by the brain bug, and
eh,
uh,
needs
Rico's
must.
girlfriend Rico's girlfriend died after getting impaled by a different bug.
Yeah, when the
Because nothing
needs.
says stable relationships like tragedy.
Yep, needs must. The devil drives, my friend. But what I was going with this, like after that little scene of showing the brain bug captured, he like goes to Doogie Howser SS, and he was like, "It was you that guided me to Carmen, right?" And then he plays coy. He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about," and like I think he even winks at him.
Hmm. I must
So
have missed out on that little
it's a
part,
very
but
brief part, but
there's so many little things that you can miss in this movie. It's
yep.
actually kind of shocking.
hmm This movie
Like
truly is the gift that keeps on giving.
I love that they're in the future, and Carmen sends Rico a literal Dear John letter,
A Dear
and
John video.
yeah, well, yeah, because they do like video emails or whatever, because they don't have the ability to FaceTime yet, because apparently that's not a thing in the future, but they can send each other like e-messages on what I can only
Pre-recorded, yeah.
describe on like floppy disks. I'm like, I'm glad in the 23rd century we're still using floppy disks. Like that was one of the things that I loved about this is like this is this is something that points to this as a 90s movie, and
hmm
50 years from now there's going to be some kid who watches it who is like, they're going to be like the hipster kid, like, did you have a kid in your high school who was like, I'm into the old school monster flicks from like the 40s and 50s, like that kind of nerd? Anyways, there's going to be some hipster nerd 50 years from now who's going to be looking at Starship Troopers as like an oldie classic film, and he is not going to think one bit about the fact that this video message is a fucking floppy disk.
But yeah, that's why I love 90s sci-fi, because you have robots that look human, interstellar travel, but then everyone uses a payphone.
Right? Like nobody has
Mm,
a cell phone yet.
nope. And did you notice that the interstellar communication service is brought to you by AT&T?
No, I didn't.
That's like the most believable part of this movie.
Is that why it's so shitty?
Yep.
But I love going back to Paul Verhoeven, obviously trying to more or less make this a parody.
hmm
There's so many different things that we see this parody that I didn't appreciate as a kid watching it, that watching it this time around, I'm like, huh. Like there's the scene where after Rico is found to have been guilty of resulting in the death of his squad mate during training, he gets sentenced to get 10 lashes. And in the scene, it is like almost like an exact like scene for scene replica of Roots, except this time we have, the perfect chiseled jawline, blonde haired white guy getting whipped by like the black sergeant. And I'm
hmm
like, huh, that was a tricky trick there you
That
did there,
was,
Paul Verhoeven. Good for you. Like,
yeah, nice reversal. Man,
I'm going.
we're so gonna get canceled. I was making a reference to Roots. My name is Toby. Your name is Kunta Kinte. You know that scene in Roots where he's like, "My name is Kunta Kinte," defiantly, and then the plantation owner's like, "Your name is Toby."
Ugh.
Whip. Yeah.
That or God, what was another good parody? Oh, can we talk about the fact that everybody like I mentioned, there's so many
Beautiful
violent
people.
violent injuries in this movie and
I
violent
mean,
deaths. And
you.
Rico experiences it. But why is he so everybody else gets like bionic arms or gets stuck in a wheelchair and all this shit, but Rico gets declared dead. They just throw him into like the Star Wars back to tank and they 3D print him a new leg and he's perfectly fine because he's the main character. Everybody else they can go fuck off, but Rico, we can't have him looking ugly.
I guess they drew straws for the good treatment because, like you said, we see all these fucked up and torn apart soldiers just laying around everywhere, and then he has the goddamn lap of luxury. Oh, oh Jesus, just hiccup there. But
Well, it pays to be the main character, is all I'm
and
saying
that
in this
I
in this
really,
universe.
I really don't think he died. I think it was just a listing mistake on the part of the military because they do that. And the only point that was made in the plot is to drive up the tension, like, oh shit, the main character died, even though you, me, and everyone else and their dog knew that he didn't. And the movie was just using that cheap suspense builder. And yeah, he does. Yeah, yeah, he gets like stabbed through his shoulder and his leg, right? Or is it just the leg?
I think it was just his leg.
You're right, just the leg. And then he got thrown in the back to tank and they got it sewn shut. And his friends joke about him being dead. Hey, dunk, 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 you're dead. And
I
then
forget.
Dizzy kisses the tank to drive up the sexual tension and then just like bounds away.
I love how Rico is so completely like inept at like social relationships with women because like I get he has his crush or his thing for Carmen, but also like Dizzy is not an unattractive
No.
female and she is so obviously like falling all over him. It's like how do you not see this or how do you it's like why do you paw at the thing that you can't have or the thing that's not going to happen when you have equally as good of a relationship just waiting to fall into your lap.
Yeah. But
Not to mention you guys were teammates, you get each other, you played football.
yeah, like the teammate and you're like on the same squad together, you have similar interests compared to Little Miss long distance and her little comfy little fleet position away from the action. Like you and Dizzy are in the shit together. And that's a bonding experience if ever I heard one. I mean, sure, one of you might get tragically torn apart and leave the other destitute, but still, it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, probably
No,
something
no,
like that.
that doesn't really feel right. Ascribing it to relationships, but
Would you
whatever.
say that Fleet does the flying and Mi does the dying?
Yes, I would say that actually. My God, I forgot about that, and I still walked right into it.
I will say the tattoos they got was pretty dope. The death from above
Oh
tattoos.
yeah, it's the laser tattoos. I'd totally get one with you.
Oh, I absolutely would get a laser tattoo. Did you see how quick that happened? Like, yeah, it looked like it hurt probably way more than your standard tattoo, but
And then that jackass pours whiskey right on a fresh tattoo. uh, Yeah, like a quick one and done laser tattoo. I really do believe that's the future of tattoos.
Tux, stop.
I
Tux.
mean, like on a certain level, fundamentally, we've been on like the standard push needle that's been dipped in ink into skin and then do it over again. We've been on that stage for centuries. I think it's time to innovate, Let's move on to lasers. We're in the 21st damn century.
Right?
And my main host has stepped away for a second, so it's just going to be me. Um,
I'm
yeah, this
back.
is a good movie. All right, he's
My
back.
my dog decided that now would be a great time to have dinner, despite me feeding her 2 hours ago.
Mm, greedy, greedy little dog.
So did you see how this film was received?
Oh, are we nearing that part of the podcast?
Oh, not yet. I like we're not to the reviewing part of it yet. I just
I'm
I
still
I
pulling
thought
it
it would
up.
I thought it would make for good conversation because all of my lead up
Wow.
to how much Paul Verhoeven was trying to make this a parody. I love the fact that nobody in the 90s got it and they took him seriously. They're like,
Yep.
he's pro fascist. It's like, he lived in the
No.
Netherlands under Nazi Germany. I guarantee you, he's not pro fascist. Like,
Yeah, this is very much an anti-fascist movie, but nobody understood that at the time. They thought, "Wow, fascism cool. Let's do that." Or we could also not do that, but
that's like, so Paul Verhoeven also did Robocop, and that it's like saying, oh, he made Robocop, so he must be totally for a complete authoritarian police state. Like, no, he made Robocop to purposely be a commentary on how we shouldn't have like a over the top police state.
yeah, police violence and that.
It's just people are so
Man.
stupid. But then it's like people went back and like reevaluated it and re-reviewed it, and now it's like it's a cult classic basically. But I'm like, nah, no, you gotta stick to your original ratings because fuck you. You don't get to go back and be like, oh, actually, no. Like even myself, as an 8-year-old dipshit, knew that this wasn't supposed to. This was not meant to be a serious film. Like it, like 8-year-old me knew it was meant to be over the top. And if 8-year-old me can figure that out, professional movie reviewers, and so can you.
Exactly.
I fucking hate you, Tux.
Oh, come on.
She's
Service guarantees citizenship as being a good boy.
she's been nothing but a pain in the ass
Good
for the
girl.
last 3 hours.
Uh, I just see her back there. Ooh, old dog.
Sit. Thanks for continuing to not listen to me. Okay, I'll go fuck myself. I'm
Yeah.
curious how much of this I'm actually going to be leaving in, but
Oh man. Yeah, it's been one of those. So now is the time for god damn it, Rotten Tomatoes.
I think we should talk about the unlimited ammo and these guns.
Yes, that also really perturbed me, but they averted that in the game where you actually have limited ammo and have to reload. But
That is nice, but I find it interesting that we get this whole big training montage for this movie, and it's like, these are elite troops. And then they get to the battlefield, and it's literally they're just running in mass, like, huddles of people, and they're all just, like, blindly firing. And it's like, where did the tactics go? Also,
yeah.
how do these guns carry this much ammunition? Like, like even by movie standards, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Like a little bit of realism would have been nice.
Well, considering none of this is real, I guess we can't bitch
Okay,
too
that's
much.
fair. This is our first sci-fi movie, which I'm proud to have selected.
It was.
And but the one thing I wanted to bring up was the goddamn nuclear grenade launchers. Like they actually did try something similar in real life where there was like one of the mini nukes from Fallout and it was
Oh
supposed to be
yeah,
truck mounted. The
there's
Davy
either
Crockett, I think.
yeah, that came out in like the 60s, I think. I remember watching videos of it. But literally the crews would have to get like go through decontamination washes immediately after using it.
But and the thing is, that's assuming they launched at the max distance, because even if you half-assed a shot like that, you'd still be burned by it. And they just
Right.
couldn't get it to fire far enough so where that wouldn't be a big deal. you
It's I'm just waiting for Siren Head to show up.
know, I was never quite familiar with that one.
See, I've never played Fallout, but that's one that's always stuck with me is
That's
Siren
from
Head.
Fallout.
Yeah, Siren Head's from Fallout, or at
I
least I
thought that was
think it
like an
is.
SCP or something.
I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. In the comments below, people, let me know if I'm dumb.
Don't let me know because I already know the answer. Um,
All I know is watching this film has really brought back a lot of memories for
oh
me.
yes, me
I
too.
spent entirely too much time on Amazon today. Like,
Buying merchandise.
oh, you know who's going to have a mobile infantry flag in his garage in 2 days?
You.
Yeah, fucking me. I also have a Johnny Rico Funko coming. For our fans, I have quite a substantial Funko Pop collection. Maybe someday I'll share on the Instagrams my Funko wall. But he's making it. It was a hard choice. I either was going to choose between Johnny Rico or they also had Lieutenant Razchek, and I'm like, I think I got to go with the more noticeable character for the wall.
That you do. That you do.
Although
And
they do, they do, Amazon does have the mobile infantry death from above tattoos as like the like washable temporary tattoos
yeah,
that you can order. I'm really tempted to get one of those just for the kicks of it.
when I first started playing the 40K war game, the faction I played was Imperial Guard, and I deliberately had my friend paint my miniatures exactly like well, not exactly like, but it's very similar to the titular Starship troopers of this movie. It turned out really good.
I've never gotten into 40K myself. That seems like a rabbit hole that would probably cost me a lot of money.
It's fun to just like read the lore of that universe and just
Oh,
how
absolutely.
awful
I've
it is.
I've watched a lot of lore videos on YouTube about 40K, and I'm like, this is legitimately interesting. But so I think we should do. I think it's about that time to do reviews, and I wanted to run this by you, but I think we should do it slightly different this week.
Oh yeah.
I think we should come up with our custom rating, rate the film, and then see whether or not or see how our rating stacks against what the thermometer has. Because I think the last couple times we've done the thermometer, we usually keep it roughly close to whatever they had. Or I think knowing the thermometer score ahead of time influences us. So I want us to come up with our own score and then see where it compares to the thermometer. What do you think?
All right, let's do it. You first.
What do you think the custom rating should be?
I want to say nuclear grenades, but hmm, not dead bugs.
Dead bugs,
Yeah, because kill them all.
like full size bugs, or the little cockroaches that the
You
children are taught to stomp on.
you know damn well what I'm talking about. Well,
I'm doing my part.
we could also do the cockroaches.
Yeah, let's do cockroaches.
Fine.
Scale of 1 to 10 cockroaches. I
9 out of 10 cockroaches for me.
I give this 8 cockroaches and like 3 legs of the ninth cockroach.
Very specific. Anyway, let's see how Rotten Tomatoes did. And this is the first time on this show, but do you want to guess what the ratings are?
Critic rating is a 57, and audience is 92.
Get this, they're exactly the same at 70%.
Hmm.
And hmm, I got to go with tradition and say I disagree with the critics and agree with the audience on this one. There's it.
It's the fucking same thing.
I have to. It's tradition.
I think
When
70
when we
is 70 is too low. I get it. I get it. This is kind of a cheesy film, but
yeah.
also it was meant to be. This film was meant to be ridiculous. It was meant to be over the top. The point
Mhm.
of it was to show you how ridiculous and stupid fascism is, and that is what it accomplished.
Absolutely.
Not to mention, like I said, the CGI in this was ahead of its time when it was released, and it still holds up very well. I mean, and as far as a film goes, considering that this film was brought to us by the same person who produced RoboCop and Showgirls, I think this was a stellar film.
Yeah, he really stepped out of his mold with this one.
It's a shame that it was kind of a flop at the box office, but also it's understandable because the year this came out was also Titanic, Men in Black. It was a stacked year for films, and I'm not surprised that this one kind of fell to the wayside.
Underperform. Yeah. The deck was really stacked against this movie in terms of box office earnings.
But it is what it is. But I 100% recommend going and watching this film. And this is, last week I described A Bridge Too Far as the film that you make yourself a nice dinner and you sit down and you devote yourself some time to it. I think of this as the film that you put on, it's like you described. If it's on TV, you just stop and you watch it.
Yeah.
I I'm of the opinion that this is a great film that you get some buddies together and grab a 6 pack or something and then uh more or less just like heckle watch it. Not because it's a bad movie, just because there's so many funny things in it. It could almost be a comedy. Um
Mhm. I don't know
which
if it
we
I don't know if it's bad enough for a heckle movie, but it's like a group thing, yeah.
yeah, it this is definitely better in a group setting to watch together just because of how fun it is. Have you seen those videos on YouTube of people who do uh, like heckle watch parties for Twilight?
Those are actually some of my favorite movie videos on YouTube. I recently watched a heckle watching of the Transformers series by a YouTuber I watch. And I'd like to remind you that the third movie of that franchise ends with Megatron saving Optimus Prime, and then Optimus Prime literally ripping his head off, God of War style. And then while the bad guy of the film, an old man, mind you, an old man is unarmed and injured and on the ground and begging for mercy. He puts a shotgun to his head and shoots him.
Jesus,
And then the movie ends as if it's some heroic thing he just did and not a war crime. Which
it's not a war
when
crime the first time.
which okay, yeah, but when have the Transformers ever given a shit about war crimes? Come on. Cybertron literally died in a puddle of its own blood.
I know I'm going to upset some people, but honestly, I see no difference between the Autobots and the Decepticons.
a lot of authors who have touched the comic books, because it's not just one continuous timeline, it's multiple different universes, but a lot of them kind of touch on this. And somebody wrote, like, I shit you not, 100-page college essay about why Megatron is the good guy.
A
If
college
not,
essay, that's a dissertation.
whatever, a dissertation on why Megatron is the good guy, albeit a bit rough around the edges, and how Optimus Prime, while noble in intentions, is the villain.
Well, that's like I wrote a college paper once about why Batman is actually not a hero.
Yeah, a lot of people have made that point. See, I'm poor, so when I go out and dress up as a bat and beat people up, it's a felony.
Yeah, of course it is.
Oh, but I didn't use guns and I didn't kill people.
No, you just
And
committed assault.
some of them might have deserved it, so therefore I'm
I
like,
am
oh,
the Bat Dad.
bad dad. I do like that meme of like the action figures all twisted up or the contortionists all twisted. And it's like, Batman, now talk.
I love the Batman sketch with Pete Holmes where he pulls like a birthday party clown into an interrogation cell and he starts beating it up. It's like, where is she? It's like, I don't know. I had some cooking sherry.
But we got way off topic. Common misconception about this film that I'd like to address: military service isn't the only avenue of getting citizenship. It is the quickest way to get citizenship and the only surefire way to get it. But there's also other routes you can take to get it. Just federal service in general. That could be like a pencil pusher for 10 or 20 years. Could be, I don't know, whatever their equivalent of the CIA is. Military intelligence is one of the paths you can go down. Shit, you can be a cabin boy on like the fleet, and I'm pretty sure you'd get citizenship. It's notable because in the books it's stated that, I don't remember what their equivalent of the merchant marines is, but service as a merchant marine does not guarantee you citizenship. But I think like asteroid mining is another common way they get citizenship. I don't know why that merchant marines are excluded, but
Because they're too
asteroid
busy
miners aren't.
delivering beer to their buddies in Vietnam.
Yes, Space Vietnam.
Dear near, dear near.
I don't know what the future equivalent of Fortunate Son is. Probably some
The
postmodernist synthwave pop music that's too
probably
far.
like the Imperial March or something.
uh, but I think it's about that time, personally. But what do you think?
I gotta know, what do you think your job in the Federation would be?
Coffin jockey. I'd probably die within 5 minutes of touching down on some godforsaken desert planet.
That's fair. I would like
But
to. I think I would be a medic, but that seems like the worst job in
oh yeah,
this entire universe because they have to be the busiest motherfuckers
that would be way
out
too
there.
much
They're
pressure.
literally yelling "medic" like every 10 minutes.
My God, I'd probably. I mean,
Why
what
did
are
you
the?
throw a knife at his hand?
I
Who the
mean,
fuck took his helmet off?
what about being just a random naval person? Like, they can't have that high of a death rate, right? I
I don't
say
know.
as I inevitably get shot down, but
A lot of those spaceships got blown the fuck up.
I mean, yes, but eh. Hold on, I actually have a list, somewhat of a list of services. Mobile infantry, as we saw in the film, military intelligence, Marine Corps, Medical Corps, Neo Dog Corps, a sub branch of the mobile infantry unit. These genetically enhanced dogs, along with their handler, were used in recon missions early in the first Bug War. Okay, so if you like
The first
dogs,
one,
Oh, spoilers for the other ones. Casualties millions.
Well, if you do recall, at the end of this movie, they were literally having children fill in the ranks.
Oh yeah, there's that quick scene of him addressing the soldiers and their actual children.
I'll kill
I
you
guess they,
myself.
yeah, I
Okay.
guess he really wanted that citizenship, huh?
Yeah. No other reason at all.
Yeah, he just wanted money for candy, and then he's serving on the front lines.
I like candy. Hey
I
kids,
mean,
would you
I
like
do.
some candy?
Yeah,
instead
wow.
instead of some creepy dude trying to abduct a children, like they're they're just inducting them into the military for candy.
But yeah, like imagine being a one-eyed double amputee 14-year-old, but you have citizenship, and they're
Oh,
like, "Oh,
thank God
cool,
for the right to vote.
yeah, cool, you have citizenship." And then the kid responds, "Yeah, it only cost me an arm and a leg."
Yeah.
Yeah, see what I did there? I'm hilarious. But yeah, the first three, like three of the four citizens we meet early on in the movie are just fucked up. We have one that is missing his arm, one that's blind, one that's missing a hand and both his legs.
Mobile infantry made me the man I am today. That's not
Yeah,
reassuring.
you need to work on your pitch there, boss. I mean, you think there's a stipend or
Oh,
what's the
definitely.
word?
Like
Uh, where
there's some sort of social security type deal.
they basically give you fuck off money after you get fired. Um,
Unemployment,
no, there's a fancy word for it.
disability.
No, well, okay, maybe it offers disability too, but God, this is bothering me. It's like a pay you consistently get by the either by the government or the business you worked for the rest of your life. It's like a monthly thing or something.
Restitution.
I don't know. I think it starts with either a P or an S.
I don't know. I'm out of word ideas.
Yeah, I'll
But
think of it later and feel really dumb.
that's fair. You are pretty dumb.
I like to think there's at least some pay to doing this, right?
Oh yeah. There's no way that citizenship is the only reward.
And it's worth noting that citizenship it's a two-way street. It doesn't guarantee you have a good and easy life, but you can also, as we see with Rico's parents, you can live the good life as a civilian.
Yeah, like they live a good life and they never did service because they're living a good
Yeah,
life
what?
and
There's no
what
point.
for? Yeah.
Yeah, vote for who? The two fascist candidates?
Scary Marshall. I love that's what they call the president, Sky Marshal.
Yeah, the Sky Marshal.
But I think it's about that time to wrap up, don't you?
Yep.
So for next week, I am happy to announce. Hold on a second. Am I looking at the right fucking schedule? Yeah. Okay. So next week, this week was supposed to be my turn to choose the movie. However, we have a special guest joining us next week who has made a request for the film, so I'm putting my selection on hold. Next week, I'm happy to announce we will be joined by another John. This time it's John with an H, and he is
Ew.
from the Tattooed Historian channel on the YouTubes and Instagrams and all Twitch and all the fun stuff. Um, he's got a pretty good podcast himself, so I know he's expressed some excitement being on our show because he finally gets to be on the other side of things and not thinking up questions and whatnot. So We will be having him join us. He's very big into two different areas of history, which is the Civil War and World War One. So for next week, he has requested that we review the film Gettysburg.
You mean like the town in South Dakota?
No,
Yeah, I'm sure. Have you been to Gettysburg, South Dakota?
I have not. Is that out in like the Black Hills?
No, it's kind of. I think in like an hour or two outside of here. I go there on business sometimes because there's some accounts open over there. But the motto of the city is Gettysburg, South Dakota, where the battle wasn't. Yeah, I think that's cute.
So, Gettysburg, the film, as in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, is a 1993 film directed by Ron Maxwell and stars Martin Sheen, Stephen Lang, Jeff Daniels, Sam Elliott, and about 3 dozen other people. It is another star-studded film, and it covers the infamous battle of the American Civil War. Um, it is a ridiculously long movie. It's like 4 hours long. For the sake of our viewers and for our own sanity, we will be doing the theatrical release because the director's cut is almost 5 hours long, and I don't have the patience to watch a 5 hour long movie at this point in my life. So, theatrical release for something hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's an investment.
It is. I'm probably going to have to do this in like 2 or 3 sittings.
I am going to sit down and watch it all in one sitting this week.
I
Might
know
actually stream it.
I know our guest is going to go into it a little bit, but he actually was offered to have a role or participate in this film, or it's either this film or Gods and Generals, but he has strong opinions about about these films, so I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
Interesting guy. So
So yeah, I can't wait for that. That's going to be exciting.
it should be. So Jack, do you have anything before we finish up?
I do not, other than service guarantees citizenship, so do your part for the Federation today.
Would you like to know more?
Of course.
No, no, you don't. We're done. This is where you exit out and we go to your favorite shower scene.
Hell yeah.
Boobs.
Okay.
Okay. I can't. Man, it's going to be such a stark turn going from
Campy
this
sci-fi to
to
Gettysburg.
Gettysburg. Yeah,
Our first Civil War movie.
it is. It is our first Civil War movie. That's very exciting. And the fact that we have somebody who actually knows shit about the Civil War joining us is very helpful.
I thought you were about to say, and our guest is someone who was at the actual Battle of Gettysburg, and I was about to be very, very impressed.
Yeah, I got uh Joshua Chamberlain's ghost to join us.
Awesome. It's
You
gonna be
shall
trick.
be soon, spirit.
Be interesting to hear him weigh in on it.
I have his autobiography here somewhere. I haven't gotten around to reading it, but it's somewhere on the bookshelf.
Uh,
It's in my I have a the number of books that I have in my still needs to be read pile is just kind of ridiculous, and I don't know how I don't think I'm ever going to catch up with it because I have a serious issue with I I almost enjoy going and buying books more than I do actually reading them. Like I do enjoy reading books, but like going to Barnes and Noble, who is not a sponsor of the show but could be, is very fun for me.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so
I
I
love going to Barnes and Noble, which is a shame because I can't read any of the books.
not even the Braille ones.
Nope.
Hmm. Well, it's a good thing they have those like volunteers that do the children's stories on weekends.
Yeah, but they get weirded out when a 27-year-old is among the kids.
Especially when you start cracking open your Bud Light next to the kid with the juice box. Go on
Yeah.
now, teacher lady. Tell me more about the Polar Express.
What do you mean that mouse still wanted a cookie? this, this book is
Motherfucker,
about socialism.
page after page, just wants thing after thing. He needs to be grateful for whatever he has. God damn it!
Yeah, where's the cat?
They made sequels to that book. Did you know that?
Oh Christ, is he still a demanding little bitch?
Yes, yes, he is.
Oh God, that friggin' rat.
On that note, I've been John,
And I'm Sergeant Jack.
and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.